Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Tishatarane Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Kapila Deva ki jai, Devahoti Maharani ki jai. So we are reading this section where there's gruesome descriptions of material existence, how desperate we can become to survive and do all kinds of things which may not be 100% dharmic. But we can't escape from the consequences of our actions. So material life has severe consequences. Now, I was just thinking, how do we apply gratitude in this situation? Well, first of all, I was thinking, there are so many situations where there are temptation to lie, or temptation to manipulate, or temptation to cheat. There are 4 defects, right? Temptation to be too sure, even though actually I'm not sure at all, and like pretense, in other words. So there's temptations to act out on the anarthas on different platforms, on different levels. Reading this section, how can I feel? Am I screen sharing or not yet? Oh, I'm screen sharing. Okay. How can I apply gratitude? Because yesterday we discussed the topic of gratitude in Gita Connection. One way I personally think that gratitude can apply for me is that, see, there's all these temptations, Shri Radha Govinda, in your mind, but you see, Srimad Bhagavatam is the guide, and it is warning you that if you apply materialistic values such as, hey, you gotta look cool, hey, you gotta fit in, then of course I will be led by these temptations, and I may also lie, I may also cheat, I may also try to pretend, and all those things that people do to try to feel a sense of belonging in this world. But Srimad Bhagavatam teaches us that we must be like a lotus. Lotus, it's in the water, right? But it doesn't belong, it's not off the water. It's very detached from the water. It's like, even if you pour water on lotus flower, it'll slide away. It won't stick. It won't absorb the water. So similarly, Bhagavad Gita says that we are supposed to be like the lotus in the water. We should be we should look like part of it, but we shouldn't belong there. Similarly, for me, this is the scriptural strength that I must appear, or actually the pretense should be applied to the world. There is the bhajan by one of our Vaishnava acharyas, Purandara Dasa. He says, anyway, there's a whole, it's like a whole shloka like that. It's like a whole verse. And in that, basically a couple of lines he says is that, let me look like an idiot in front of materialists. And then let me look like a humble, wretched person in front of the knowledge, the wise. Sugyaniಗಳ ಮುಂದೆ ನಾನು ಎಂಬುದ. So Ajnani means those who are ignorant, those who don't know scriptures, those who are ignorant of the absolute truth, right? And can be anybody, in any situation. Could be even a devotee, but maybe ignorant of a specific topic or a specific point, and they may be arguing headless arguments like that. And then you look at the situation, remember Srimad Bhagavatam, and say, okay, they are the agyanis, or those who may not have higher knowledge at this particular point on this particular topic. And then what do? Jnanigala munde, what is that? Enna mana kalisaya means to become like mana kalisaya. How do you translate that? To look like an idiot, basically, to make yourself look like an idiot. So that's the trick of Srimad Bhagavatam. How do you survive in this material world? Well, you just look like an idiot to the materialists so that they stop bothering you. And Gaur Das Babaji Maharaj used to do that. He used to go and sit in the latrine, like toilets, and he will chant there because people would not come and bother him in the toilets. He will not stay outside. Because when he would stay in the public places, just generally outside, everybody will come pay obeisances, come and ask him for wishes and this and that, and he would be bothering him. So he will go sit in the latrine, in the toilets and chant. So like that, if we want to get less influenced by this materialistic value system, quote unquote value systems, and whatever it is that requires for us to fit in this society, we become aloof. If we can't be aloof physically, like Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, then we internally detach ourselves. We look at that individual and say, okay, this person I happen to be around, etc. I need to kind of do my dharma here, but let me not become involved in a deeper relationship with this person. Let me not reveal my mind. Guhyam makyati prachati. Let me not start doing higher principles of devotional service with people who are not serious in Krishna consciousness, or those who cannot actually guide us, etc. I mean, I know these principles are like basic, but sometimes we need to be reminded. So I'm grateful that Srimad Bhagavatam reminds me of these principles. And all this thing about death and the pitiable condition of a man who ran after money and who ran after prestige and then got rejected by his own family. All these things are very meaningful. We see even in Mahabharata, Dhritarashtra, right? Dhritarashtra, the blind father, he becomes very surprised when Duryodhana acts in very malicious and evil ways. He wonders, like, why Duryodhana is so selfish, why Duryodhana is so attached to the crown or the throne. He's so attached that he wants to become the king, that at one point he just tries to, Duryodhana makes a whole drama that he kills himself, like he pretends to be killing himself to let the Dhritarashtra immediately crown him. Otherwise, he'll say, I'll kill myself. So then Dhritarashtra wonders, why is he so care? He doesn't even care about me or his mother. He doesn't care about anybody. He just wants the throne. Then he realizes that, well, in that consciousness, I conceived Duryodhana, right? I mean, I don't know if he exactly thought about consciousness of conception, but he at one point realizes that it was me. I trained him to be in that way. I always emphasized the throne and the crown over everything else. And so he at one point realizes how it backfired on him, on him. So like that, even in these conditions, sometimes people like fathers, like so busy, they don't pay attention to children. Of course, they're giving the value system to the kids that work is more important than family, and things like that, And if parents lie to children, then children think this is the way to survive. And they lie back to you, right? If we teach them that. So that's why a woman is more important in a family, because usually the mother's value system very strongly gets impression on the child's mind. So all these things, reading all these things is like a reminder that, look, whatever the world does, don't say, oh, they're all eating stool, I will also eat stool. Not a good, not a very intelligent decision. So Bhagavatam tells me, hey, that stool, yes, people may be eating it, but it's not a good food. So like that. Any other realizations on this gruesome descriptions?
It's so beautiful that we usually don't look at it like this. This is like so harsh, especially this particular section. It's a really such a, what do you say, extremely harsh and a what do you say, shocking way of expressing the reality of material existence. Usually, we don't even come across this in any other like sections.
Mm.
Usually, when we hear the Bhagavatam and all that, we'll just say, "Yeah, material world is bad, bad, bad." But the way they explain, they take you about this dying man and how his attachment ultimately, makes him suffer so much. And you actually hear that, you're like, "Wow!" Especially those of us who are still not reached that stage. It's like we don't want to do that, right? We don't want that to happen to us, So just makes us so much aware of it. Being aware
Mhm.
is such a big blessing, right? Being warned of, not only just aware, like being warned, this is going to happen to you if you're just going to be an attached householder. That's so nice, right? Otherwise, if you
Mhm.
don't even know what it is, so this Bhagavatam giving us this awareness itself is like, wow, so great, so wonderful. How many people will even get to become aware of this in their young age,
Right.
or
Mm.
right like that? So, as we said, more gratitude to Bhagavatam.
Mm. And one good point you brought up about, see, we may say, no, but in traditional India, parents give the culture to the kids they follow, right? But today's world, where are the parents who give culture and samskaras and good? No, they don't. Even the parents themselves don't know. Like you were saying, that at least at the young age, even at the old age, people don't know. They're lost. They get so lost. I'm thinking, personally, I'm thinking of my relatives. They're born and brought up as Brahmin Madhvas, right? I mean, brought up, not exactly like they were, but then after they went to America and they kind of lost their caste, so to speak, right? They don't follow these principles of Bhagavatam. They don't. They just eat anything, focus life on money. I don't know what kind of, I'm just saying the value system changes. So without Bhagavatam, without that light, without that sun, which actually sheds light on in our life, what is life? We just become like victims. We become victims of material life. And something else I was thinking when you were saying that, gratitude also for example, no, we may see somebody in our neighbor. Like I remember when I was very small, very young child, there was a neighboring house. There was a raid of the police came and they raided that house, and it became like an open house thing that because they had cheated a lot of people with this some scheme, this Ponzi scheme type of things. And I remember like that impression on my mind was, you don't do Ponzi scheme because police will come and catch you. Simple. So it's like that when we look at people who do wrong and the society in the society, and the police system or some consequences there, then we become alert. Hey, I should be careful. I shouldn't go down that road. Even in our communities, right? This is something that personally happened to me. I was hanging out with somebody who has like a really bad reputation in the community. And then every friends started telling me, don't hang out with her. This person has very bad reputation. She's this and that. I didn't know what extent bad. I just thought, oh, maybe she just because she's divorced or something like that. But it was much more than that, I realize now. But then the point was, people started looking at me with her, like walking around. Then one day I heard things that they were telling about this person, and then I didn't believe it. I was like, I don't care. But eventually, I came to know that many things that people were talking were true. Then it was a consequence for me. I thought, you see, if I keep associating with people in this direction, that's how people will talk about me. And then what kind of a disservice I would do to my Guru Maharaj. My Guru Maharaj has asked me to give Bhagavatam classes and guide people. But then if this association is going to ruin my, not ruin my reputation just because people say that, I'm very careful to not just make people say, but I could see that that person's reputation matched their actions, and therefore I realized the consequences can be very bad. And then I had to stop going in that direction. So the point is, all these reminders are like warning signs, like you said. It's like when we're going in a traffic signal and then there is the red light, right? And when the light is working, then we get saved. But if the light is not working, which means we don't study Bhagavatam regularly, then the light is not working. No, and then we go and hit some, even we may go and hit some whatever, a truck or something. Yeah. Okay, so I think we stopped this page. So we can continue here. So we stopped at the statement that oof, binding him about the neck with the stout rope, they wrench him from his gross body and thrust him into a subtle covering suitable for punishment. Then they drag him to hell. Oof. Okay. Who likes to read this gruesome section? No, please, somebody read.
I'm actually working on a painting as I'm hearing. So
Oh,
if
wow.
nobody's gonna read, then I will read.
Anybody? Mrs. Salimati, Rajeshwari, Radhika, are you Lakshmita? Welcome.
Okay, okay, I read.
Okay, maybe. Cool.
Held fast by Yamraj's agents, he trembles in terror as they scold him with harsh words. Stumbling along the road and suffering terribly, he is bitten by dogs and remembers his past sins, which have brought him to that place. Under the scorching sun, the criminal passes along roads of burning sand, surrounded by forest fires. When he trips and falls, the Yamdutas whip him mercilessly across his back. Although he is afflicted by hunger and thirst, there is neither food, water, nor shelter to be found anywhere. When he falls unconscious, he is forced to rise. In great distress, he traverses many thousands of miles in a matter of moments. Although to him it seems much longer, he is brought before Yamaraj for judgment and is then immediately subjected to torturous punishments. He is thrown into a blazing fire in which his limbs burst into flames. Those who previously ate meat are forced to either eat their own flesh or be eaten by others. Serpents, scorpions, gnats, and numerous other vicious creatures surround and bite him. Even as he watches, his entrails are torn out by the hounds and vultures of hell who eat him alive. Oh my God. His limbs are torn off or severed by elephants and other beasts. He is thrown down from mountain tops, drowned, and locked up in caves. Those who have indulged in illicit sex are thrown into a terrible hell known as Tamishra, Andhatamishra, and Raurava. My dear mother, some people do not believe these accounts, but such sufferings can be seen even in this world. One who has spent his life maintaining himself and his family by sinful acts is suddenly forced to endure these punishments after death, along with his relatives. He enters the darkest regions of hell, and the wealth he acquired by committing violence to others becomes his fair money, leaving behind those who had maintained, and for whom he must now suffer. He laments like one who has lost everything. Thus, one who is eager to support his kinsmen by sinful acts falls into the lowest regions of darkness. Devahuti and her friend sat in shocked silence for some moments. Shaking her head slowly, Devahuti said, "How does the living being endure such punishment? Would he not die?" "Death simply means that the gross body dies," said Kapila. "The subtle body of mind, intelligence."
Let's pause there. See, that's the point, right? In material world, is if somebody throws us from the mountaintop, we are dead, and that's it. End of the movie, right? And some other torturous things. Elephants comes and jackals and whatever animals come and peel our skin and eat our away. We die, right, within minutes. But subtle body will not die, but we will experience the pain. That is the hardest part of hell. In hell, there will be such severe punishments, but there will be no death. So it's like, oh, dying again, like pain again and again, like almost a feeling of death. It is said that death is like biting of 1,000 scorpions, or 100, I forgot, 100 or 1,000. The feeling of the pain of death is like hundreds and hundreds of scorpions. So when there is no death, but the pain is experienced again and again and again. It's like, imagine you have to experience the labor of childbirth, but child will not be born, but you keep experiencing that pain. That's hell. That's the hellish condition.
In the material body, the gross body is suffering. We can feel it.
Right.
But here, the soul is suffering. That is the thing.
Subtle body. Soul
Subtle
never
body.
suffers. Soul
Okay,
is
the subtle
always
body is
separate.
suffering. Subtle
Soul
body.
is, you remember that verse, no? Soul cannot be cut, cannot be burnt by fire, cannot become wet.
Yes,
Soul is
absolutely. Yeah.
transcendental. Soul is always Satchit Ananda.
It's
It's
not
great, yeah. But the subtle body
subtle body.
also
So
is
that is
also,
the
yeah, yeah,
gross body and subtle body.
yeah. Okay, please continue, Mataji. Or somebody else likes to continue. Anybody else? Rajeshwari, Radhika, or Lakshmita, would you like to read?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay, please continue from here. The subtle body of mind, intelligence, and
Yeah.
false ego.
The subtle body of mind, intelligence, and false ego continues into another gross body. The Yamadutas cover that subtle form with a body suitable for continual torture, which cannot be killed, asked Devahuti. Yes, it is repeatedly destroyed and again revived for more punishment. How terrible, said Devahuti. What happens to these poor souls after that? After suffering many miserable conditions, they take birth in the lower species of life. Passing through these in a regular order, they are finally born again as humans in this world. Listen as I describe the process of birth. Entering, Mata, should I continue this?
Let's
Entering the
pause.
human
If
body.
anybody has any thoughts, any questions so far, or you're convinced that we don't want to go to hell and
In the beginning, very beginning of my KC, I remember all this used to be such an impetus to chant better. As I do devotional service, it used to be such an impetus. Oh my God, this is so horrible. Let me take it out. Let me do this seriously. So it used to be like that. But it was like more of, I don't know. It is not in a very, what do you say, doing bhakti, not with a pure motivation, but it's a motivation that I don't want to be here, like, that kind of a feeling.
That's
But,
good. I mean, it's a good intention to, avoid, it's intelligent. You want to avoid the police catching you, you avoid doing criminal activities. You don't need to have pure bhakti for that. In the sense, there are levels, right? There is levels of, first we have to become decent human beings, then we can become pure devotees. We can't become pure devotees without being decent human beings. And decent human beings are those who follow Vedic injunctions and they don't mess up with their karma. I was thinking to ask this question to each of us, like you can ask yourselves, you don't have to answer it, but what mentalities, habits, tendencies do I have currently that requires some transformation, that requires some correction in order for me to be safe and not go towards hellish style or hellish acts, sinful life. What tendencies or what anarthas might I have that I can pray to Nrsingadev today? Go to Nrsingadev and admit, my dear Lord, I have this particular anartha. please, like, I think for me, it's, I have the subtle anartha, but it can sometimes turn, if I'm not cautious and without Lord's mercy, it could be dangerous. This anartha is like kind of people pleasing, and in order to fit in order to make people feel good, I may sometimes say things in a way that may not be full truth. So lying or like making people believe, oh yeah, it's okay, don't worry, or that kind of tendency, I need to work on it. So something like that. I came up with 2, 3 for myself. So just think about it, journal about it, maybe pray about it, especially. You don't succumb to that, let that weakness not drag us down. Because if not in this life, maybe in next life we could keep going.
What about like trying to enjoy? Of course, we like cooking for the Lord. Without that, we are not eating. But still, the what do you call the feeling of, oh, I want to eat this. That's an anartha, right? Is it an anartha or not? It's a question for you, Mataji.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I can relate to that also. Some sort of sense gratificatory
Yeah, right.
habit to enjoy,
Yeah,
enjoy separately from Krishna. Yeah, it's very dangerous, no? It's very dangerous.
you're offering, but still that feeling of like, I want to eat this. Of course, I will offer,
Very
but still.
subtle. It's very subtle. We had discussed one point, in Krishna connection. I'm gonna end the live here because we can
Mhm.
discuss personal things here. Okay, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai for those
Yeah.
watching the recording. We are going to have fun discussing, confidential things. Next time, if you like to hear it, please come on the class. Hari Krishna.